So our next speaker is Martin Hoefer, and he will talk about delegated online search.
Yes, hello everyone. It's good that there were so many previous talks on the delegated search model, because then I don't have to talk about it that much. This is joint work, by the way, with Pirmin, Nicklas, and Conrad, who are at various places right now. Pirmin is in industry, Nicklas is in Sorbonne, Conrad is still in Frankfurt, and I'm also in Frankfurt. Good. So what's the deal here? So we're essentially looking also at the delegated search model that has been discussed before. So here I took a little example that is sort of searching for an employee, let's say, right? So here you have the principal who has the choice and offers the menu. Here's the agent. What does the agent do? The agent searches through the options, looks at sort of each possible candidate, and then proposes one to the principal, and the principal sees the candidate and says yes or no, right? So we're in the rank 1 Matroid case, as Schecker mentioned earlier, right? So here we're just sort of having sort of n possible choices here that we could take, and the agent sort of proposes one to us, and then the principal decides. Right, okay, so that's the standard model. So what we were thinking about, as the name suggests, what about online search, right? So what if these options are not available to the agent immediately when he looks at them, but there is sort of an online component, a dynamic component over time in this model? Okay, so what do we have? We have these two agents. We have n options. They arrive sequentially over n rounds. So in each round, the option is drawn independently from a distribution di. So now, based on the option that's drawn, both agents have a utility. So aij is utility for agent. The utility for the principal is not pij for obvious reasons, because it's probability. So bij is the utility for the principal. And then, so these options here, or these parameters, they're common knowledge, so they're fully known to A and P in advance. Okay, so what happens now is that the principal commits in advance to this menu, to this action scheme, where he says, okay, for each possible choice that is presented to me, I have a decision, yes or no, take it or don't. Okay, good. So now what happens is the following scenario. So I took some pseudocode here because I was too lazy making nice pictures, but okay, I walk you through this. So in each round, the agent sees the realization. First candidate comes in, he sees, okay, that's the candidate that's realized. Then he decides, do I propose it to the principal or do I wait? Right. If I propose, then the principal sees the candidate, takes an action according to the action scheme that he decided upon in advance. Right? Process ends, yes or no. Yes, agents get the utility. No, both agents get nothing. Okay. What if I decide wait? Well, then I wait. Then we proceed to the next round. I get to see the next candidate, and I can decide to propose that candidate or wait further. Right? So it's always like go on or propose. Okay, so now for a given action scheme, so if I know which agents are acceptable and which are not, then, or which options are acceptable or not, the agent can solve this by backwards induction. You can go from back to the front, and this is essentially this online search model that is also addressed with profit inequalities, right? So you go from back to front and optimize. Okay, so what's the goal now? The goal now is to be the principal and to design this menu, the yes or no decisions, to incentivize the agent to propose good options for the principal. Okay. So now the question is, how much value is lost because we have this online arrival and departure of these choice options? Because naturally, if an option is gone, then this person is gone. So it's not that sort of you can accumulate the options and in round 10 propose option 1, because then there's no point to the online model, right? So it's about sort of in round 1, propose that option, and if you don't propose it, it's gone. Okay, so for the offline case, this is also what Schecker mentioned. There is this nice result by Kleinberg and Kleinberg that sort of applies these Samuel-Kahn profit inequalities and other greedy-based profit inequalities to obtain a constant fraction. And constant fraction here means really delegation gap, as Schecker defined it, right? So approximate the best option for the principal in hindsight. So what about the online model? Well, online model, not so much, unfortunately, right? So there is a tight guarantee of 1 over n. So there's this family of instances where you can only extract 1 over n. So what's this family of instances? Well, the agent has a high utility for a low probability candidate, and he starts to wait for it. He wants to wait. The principle, well, the principle has sort of utility 1 for a good candidate and probability 0 for a bad candidate. And, well, there's a constant probability that a good candidate arrives during this process, but the agent is not willing to propose it because the agent is always willing to wait until the end. And if you wait until the end, then, of course, well, you wait until the end. Question is, what kind of limitations do we, how robust are these invariants of the model? Well, we looked at several variants of the model. I'm not going to discuss them. Suppose the agent has look ahead. Suppose the agent can make multiple proposals. Suppose there is sort of alpha bounded utilities for the agent. Suppose the discrepancy between agent and principal is bounded for 2 different options. Right, so here you see this scales linearly with this parameter k. Well, for these 2 parameters, it's more complicated. If you want to know more, look into the paper. There's proofs on all of them. Most of these bounds are tight. Well, conscious, semi-oblivious, oblivious. Ask me later if you want to know it. My time's up. Thank you.
Thanks, Martin.